Today we search for the Holy Grail. It's Conquests of Camelot coming up next. Well, let's open the YARG file on this game and see what it's about. Conquests of Camelot was an adventure game written by Sierra in 1990. It was one of the last great adventure games from Sierra that still featured a text parser to input commands, and it was also one of the last games to offer only 16 color graphics. Although they tried to make it look better by dithering those 16 colors to kind of fool you into thinking there were more than that, by today's standards, or even standards of 1990, it looked pretty dated. The game was designed to be part of a new series called the Conquest of series. However, only one other game was made, and that was Conquest of the Longbow back in 1992. Anyhow, let's get the review started. One last thing, this is just a quick review video. If you want to see the long play, click the boxes below. Thanks. So here's the 1-minute version of the plot of the game. Basically, you're King Arthur, and you're in charge of Camelot, which is a really nifty, neat place. And unfortunately, Lancelot is in love with your queen, which, of course, that causes some strife and your kingdom's turning into poo. But then you see a vision of the Holy Grail, and you send out 3 knights, Galahad, Gawain, and Lancelot, to try to go and retrieve the Holy Grail. Well, unfortunately they never return, so it's now up to you to go and rescue your friends and return the Grail and set everything right in the world. You start the game out in an overhead view of Camelot Castle. Basically, you're going from room to room, talking to people and collecting items that you'll need for your journey. You want to talk to people, ask them about Lancelot, Gawain, and Galahad, and you can determine where they went to and where you need to go in the world to find them. Also, you'll talk to your queen, Guinevere, and she'll give you a rose, which comes into importance later. The other main character you'll talk to is Merlin, who will give you a lodestone, which will come into importance later. One of the annoying things you'll find about this particular part of the game is that every character you talk to, for the most part, will tell you, oh, you need to hurry up and go find these people. There is no time limit to find anybody in this game, so it's very easy to not do something you need to do in Camelot's castle, or in the Castle of Camelot, I should say. And once you leave, they won't let you back into this castle. So you got to make sure once you leave, you have everything you need in order to complete the game. Make sure you got a full purse. Make sure you got the rose, which is important in order to get past a certain thing later. And make sure you got the lodestone, which is also another important thing to have. Once you've collected all the stuff you need from the castle, it's time to leave and head out into the big wide world with your horse and your trusty donkey. Once you leave, you'll be presented with a map that shows nearly a dozen places you supposedly can travel to. The reality of it is there's only 3 that you really can. The 3 places to go are Glastonbury Tor, Otmore, and Southampton. In Southampton, all you can do is just take a ship to go to Jerusalem. You'll find that Gawain is being held captive in Glastonbury Tor by the Black Knight, so that's the first place you go to. After a brief battle with some wild boars and a jousting match between you and the Black Knight, you're able to free Gawain and continue on with the quest for the Grail. Your next stop will be Otmore, which is in the far northern part of the kingdom. When you arrive, the idea is to get to this palace that's in the middle of the lake, which is where the Lady of the Lake lives. However, to get there without falling in the lake, you have to put in a passage from the manual, because it doesn't give it to you anywhere else in the game. Then, as long as you're within the force field of the pedals, you can cross the ice and get to the palace with no problem whatsoever. Once you've given the Lady of the Lake an item you picked up at Glastonbury Tor, you'll be taken to another room where you have to do a puzzle that involves, yet again, stuff out of the manual. If you don't have the manual for this game, you will not be able to complete this. She'll ask these ridiculous questions about various flowers. It's sort of like supposed to be riddles, but the information about these flowers is rather arbitrary, so just solve the puzzle as quickly as you can with the manual and continue on with the Grail quest. Once Lancelot is freed, you're off to Southampton to board a ship going to Gaza. Although they don't tell you how long the journey between Southampton and Gaza is, I imagine it was in the order of several weeks or even months perhaps, but eventually your ship will go all the way to Gaza. Since we're at about the halfway point of this game, I think I'll try to keep the second half as spoiler-free as I can, so I'll just speak on the generalities of what goes on in the rest of the game. From Gaza, with the help of a guide, you'll make your way to Jerusalem. And when you arrive in Jerusalem, you'll find that in order to advance the plot, you'll have to deal with all the shopkeepers and solve their various problems in a sort of scavenger hunt across the city. Once you've solved all the shopkeepers' problems, you'll be presented with this puzzle that the only way you can solve is by having a copy of the manual. So I suggest getting yourself a copy of this manual. It's available via PDF all over the internet, and you do need it in order to complete the game. At this point, you're given access to the catacombs under Jerusalem, where you'll find Galahad, who's near death. So once you've rescued him, you need to find your way out of the catacombs. That's as specific as I want to get without spoiling the game. When you get out of the catacombs, you'll find yourself in Aphrodite's ruined temple. Here you'll have to fight off the Saracen guy, and then Aphrodite will tell you where the Grail is, and you can just pick it up. So yeah, you just won the game. So yeah, Conquests of Camelot. Not a bad game overall. There are better Sierra games out there, in my opinion, even within the same sort of genre. Like, I would rather play the Quest for Glory series than this, but it's still in my top 10, this game. So yeah, I think it deserves the B that I give it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video. If there's a specific game you'd like me to review, drop me a note in the comment box below. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. If you want to see more of my stuff, why not subscribe? Also, if you really want to, you can support me on Patreon. Thanks for watching.